Okay, well, I've had a few requests to keep waffling, so I'll give you a little waffle today. I've recently purchased an old second-hand boat. I must be balmy at my time of life. I just got rid of one with lots and lots of work. But this is a fiberglass hull, and but the wheelhouse is woodwork, hardwood, and lots of interior paint work and varnish work. It's completely flaked off and all want redoing. I know there's a lot of power tools on the market, orbital sanders and this sort of thing, and I'm not against power tools, but I like hand tools also. And the normal method of removing varnish, flaking varnish and paint is the old triangular scraper. But this is really designed for use with a blowtorch, blow lamp, what have you, for softened paint or stripper. But if you use these dry, they soon blunt, and you can't get enough purchase with one hand. That's not what they're designed for. So I made a very simple two-handed device, one decent handle to pull, and a knob on the top to push, which is directly above the blade, so you can control how much pressure is on the blade. And this is nothing more than a big screwdriver bent and welded onto a block. The block has a slot cut in it. There's a couple of hex bolts, and the blades are nothing more than pieces of industrial hacksaw blade, bandsaw blades, any high carbon content steel. Make up half a dozen or so to put in your pocket or somewhere safe, and don't forget the hex key. And they're very efficient, and I've made many of these for the local boating fraternity, so much so that I had to say stop after a while. It was I wasn't in the business of starting up a business making these, but there is a demand for them, providing the price is right, I suppose. And since I never charged much, I was never without work. But very well worthwhile making. I think really it's self-explanatory. But once I've had a go at the bright work, taking off paint and old varnish with this, and then just a light rub down by hand, I can continue the varnishing. Anyway, one small tip there. With two handles, you've got proper control of the tool, and it makes light work. Nothing to clean up, no dust, nothing to plug in, switch on, or accessories to buy. Very handy little tool. Okay, well, whilst on the subject of boats, I'll mention a project I did at one time, building flat-bottomed pram dinghies. I designed it myself and produced quite a number of these, and got the building down to a fine art in the end. It's very simple, and the whole dinghy is hinged around one frame, and one frame only. This is sort of midships. What you need to do is get a piece of wood 3 foot by 2 3/4, 12.5 inches, same thickness, 70-degree angle. You need to half joint the wood, this is half a section of it, glue and screw it together, and cut out there and at the top, like so, for the stringers, and a section also for the keelson. The size of these isn't critical. This boat is built about arse about face really to most ply boats. Most ply boats, the ply is pulled round to frames and to stringers that have been flared in, this boat is built the opposite way. All these stringers from here going after the shape of the boat is formed. So what we need to do, it can be made from about 3 sheets. 1 sheet of 9mm ply and 2 sheets of 6mm ply. It's a stable, easy rowable dinghy. The first one I ever made took about 8 or 9 days, I think. But towards the end I could produce a dinghy, materials in the front door, and a painted dinghy at the back door in 2 days flat, single-handed, without too much sweat. So it's not too difficult. There's no plans, there's no cutting list. The whole thing is built on the fly. As I say, it basically revolves around this frame. I'll just zoom in. These are the dimensions of the frame. Make this right and make it strong. Put a brace across the top temporarily with G-clamps, or screw it, so that when you bend the ply around this shape it doesn't collapse in. But you won't need this later when the foredeck, seats and transom and so forth are fitted. So as I say, I'm repeating myself, but it's basically built around that. Imagine that twice. I just quickly done this to show you how it's made. Cut 1 foot width strips off an 8 foot length, 2 for each side of the boat. Drill a 1/4 hole in the extreme corner of the ply, put a piece of rope through it or strong cord, and then pull all the corners to the shape of the boat till it looks right. And this needs to be about 3 foot from the stern of the craft. The bow rises at 45 degrees approximately. It's your boat, you choose. The transom has a rake and the bottom is in 2 inches. If it looks right, it probably is right. As I say, there's no plans as such. There's no exact cutting list as such. You build it as you go along. It is very, very quick to do. It is very easy. The only advice I would do is mount it or build it on 2 planks across a pair of trestles. The planks need to be level, both of them, and straight. That way you won't get a twist in the dinghy. When you first start off, it'll be very whippy and not too solid. But as I say, once the fixtures start going in, you'll find that it'll strengthen up no end. Okay. The stringers themselves need to be about 5/8 thick, and the length of them needs to be slightly larger than your cutouts on the frame. This is to allow planing off afterwards to fare this line with this one. It'll be obvious when you come to put it together. The actual stringers themselves, make them larger than the boat, 6 or 7 inches larger than the boat. They actually protrude through the stern. This is the stern of the boat, or transom rather. Don't worry about angles, let them protrude through. They'll be cut off afterwards. The same goes for the bow. Take the stringers and the keelson through both, and so we haven't got any angles to worry about. The same goes for when you eventually cut off the sides of the boat. Leave these all on until the boat is all screwed and glued together. It's more difficult to explain than to actually do. If you need a lot more explanation, perhaps you should take up flower arranging or something, but this is the nutshell of it. I found out by trial and error in the first place, and if you're handy with your hands and you're handy with wood, there's no reason why you can't build it like this. As I say, all the stringers and bits and pieces get put in afterwards, providing whatever you do to the port side you do to the starboard side, the whole thing will be straight and square. Go for pleasing lines with modern glues and epoxies. you know, screwing and gluing, it should be very nice, and once painted up I think you'll be very pleased with it. This particular design I called the buttercup, which will become clearer later on. But this is what the boat should look like, pretty much completed before painting. This should give you some idea and start to make things clear. You should have a clear idea in your head now how you're going to proceed with this this little dinghy. Perhaps I didn't make it obvious, but the 9mm ply is for the floor of the dinghy and also for the seats, as you'll need the extra thickness there. But 6mm is fine for the sides, and you should find it car toppable, no problems at all. As I say, there's quite a few of these around, or a few of my designs around. You'll spot them a mile off, they're all yellow. Oh dear. Right, this is what they look like painted up. You should start to get an idea about how to proceed now. After a little while of producing these, I got several comments about the colour. I could understand where I got buttercup from, as that was the colour. But why yellow, which is a bit unusual? My reply was high vis. Pardon? High visibility. Oh, I said, you can see your dinghy and a mountain of white ones a mile off. You see if someone's pinched it. And that's the reason they make life jackets, bright yellow. It's safety at sea. Even my fishing boat got the treatment of yellow. In no time at all, there were a number of yellow boats starting to appear. Seems like I'd started a trend. Now, just between you and me, don't tell anyone, but I got 3 or 4 45-gallon drums of cheap paint which happened to be yellow. Now if it had been purple or pink, well, that would have took a bit of explaining, but I'd have given it my best shot. Anyway, that's enough confessions from Waffle. Thanks for watching.